Welcome to Gene and Mike do the New York Times crossword.
Hi, I'm Jean.
And I'm Mike. And today we are doing the crossword for Saturday, May 10th, 2025. So, on a date that has a lot of numbers in it that are divisible by 5, like it's the 5th month, the 10th day of 2025,
I would say they're all divisible by 5.
They're all divisible by 5.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do the crossword?
I did.
And are you of a divided mind as far as the crossword is concerned?
Oh no, I'm pretty single-minded.
Single-minded? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And are you singly minded in favor or against?
Not so much in favor or against, but just I definitely think it was hard.
Really?
I did, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I learned something, which is good.
You good?
That sometimes if you just cannot get anything, take out everything that you think you have.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And start over.
Right.
And I had to do that in the upper right and upper left and the lower right. It was just a really strange solve for me because at first I wasn't really getting anything, and then eventually I sort of got this diagonal through the from the upper right to the lower left. I kind of got that all filled in.
Sure.
And some of those were some of the harder clues, the longer words, but I finally got that all filled in. But boy, I had a lot of trouble doing those two corners. And in both cases, I just took everything out. And it was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. It just, it kind of gelled then.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I find that if I've got a letter in place, I can't imagine what it would be like without the letter. I have to take it out. Mm-hmm. And then I get all sorts of freedom as a result.
Exactly, yes. And in both cases, well, actually, in the lower right, I all the words I thought I had, I didn't. And then in the upper left, there was at least one word there that I thought was right, and I took it out. But then as I was continuing the solving, it's just like, oh yeah, that one was right, so I put it back in.
So the upper right, you mean like where we had, for example, 6 across?
No, upper left. I'm sorry, upper left.
Upper left?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. The only one I had was 3 down, which was about the perfume.
Yes.
Perfume compound. And I put in, it has to be ester.
Right.
And then I thought, maybe that 2 down, act like a scaredy cat. I thought, well, that could be like cowers, because it fit.
Yes.
And I really liked that. And then 4 down in, I thought, well, it could be a mid, but probably not. And the only one I was really sure of was Esther. But eventually I took Esther out too and just kind of started all over. And I kept the ones, from the middle, like 31, 34 across. I knew those had to be right. But I took all the rest out and started from kind of the bottom up. Mm-hmm. And got them done. Like 11 down, person who's entitled. Well, I put landowner. I knew it had to be owner.
Right.
But I thought, oh, landowner. But I was like, well, it's just not working. So I took that out, and it turned out to be homeowner. So, and for 10 down, manufactured wooden sheet. Well, I thought it was going to be some kind of board. I was thinking bead board, but then I'm like, that's not made of wood. And I couldn't think what the wood was that's made out of little pieces of wood. It turns out it's chipboard.
Yes.
But I could not think of that until I took everything else out and sort of got that word filled in with some of the other clues. So, So anyway, that was my saga of doing the Saturday crossword.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I found it to be relatively straightforward.
Oh, well, that's good.
I don't know why.
Well, there were really no unusual words in it, I didn't think.
There was no pop culture. I think that's what saved me.
Well, that's true too. But yeah, there weren't any like Hebrew for this or no foreign language words.
No Spanish in my case. If they threw in French, I'd be ready.
But and the history stuff was not too obscure.
I guess they did have one. 27 down, George Blank voted Coach of the Century by the International Swimming Hall of Fame. Well, I immediately gave up. It's like, there's no way. It's Swimming Hall of Fame?
It turned out to be Haynes.
Yes. Did you know that?
No.
I wonder if anybody knew that. I want to know if the author of this crossword, Sean Phillips, if he knew that.
Maybe he's a swimmer.
Perhaps. Perhaps he's actually...
or follows swimming.
Right. Perhaps he actually is George Haynes, just in disguise.
The one gimme for me was 7 down. Mary Poppins tune that begins with tuppence for paper and strings. You can have your own set of wings. And I knew that was Let's Go Fly a Kite.
I had no idea where to go there until I was able to plant the I of kite. And I'm like, okay, that's one letter away. And somehow I got kite and then worked my way backwards through the lyrics. I'll tell you one thing that stunned me. 29 across, some dragonflies. Darners.
Yes.
Have you heard of a darner?
No.
Me neither.
I wasn't quite sure what that meant.
I presume it's a variety of dragonfly.
Yeah.
Ones that are always disappointed in life. And they're always going, darn.
Or maybe they mend. Maybe they mend their wings. They darn them. So,
maybe they if someone has ripped clothing, they descend upon it like a cloud of dragonflies and then repair it.
Perhaps. We'll never know. So anyway, but it was a good puzzle.
We had, 6 across. The unappetizing food was glop.
Glop, yes.
I went for slop.
So did I.
But I guess glop also works.
Especially with 6 down bases, and that was grounds.
Yeah, see, I see bases and I start thinking about acids. And 5 across, 15 across, apt name for a NASCAR driver. I had it ending in TO and I went for moto. And I thought, that sounds like a good name. Not realizing that nobody in the entire world has ever named their kid Moto. But a lot of people have been named Otto, O-T-T-O.
That's right.
25 down was a stumper for me. Fine grain rock that can be easily cut in any direction. I had this idea of a word. It was schist.
Oh, yeah. But I don't know that you can cut that in any.
It was, for some reason, that word just popped into my mind. It was way too short.
Oh, yeah.
But there was an ST in it because the correct answer was freestone.
That's right.
I wonder if, freestone is really free. It's like, hey, give me some freestone.
I'm not sure.
33 across where Ferrari is race in brief. And that was the NYSE.
Yeah.
That took me a bit. That was a clever clue, I thought.
Yeah.
Another one sort of also in that same very clever vein. Wine found in, and this is in quotes, tasting. And the answer was Asti.
Yes.
I got the answer before I realized what the clue was trying to get me to do. And then I looked, I see. Asti is in tasting.
Right.
Sort of like that one there.
Another... interesting one, 35 across, deep defenses, moats.
Yes, that was good.
I was thinking, some kind of army formation or, I couldn't figure out what that was, man. It was moats.
That ran into 35 down, a center of stage on signs. That was mainst, as in Main Street.
Main Street,
I thought that was sort of interesting.
Yes, that was long in coming for me. Because 37 across was demand. And I put hearken. That you hearken something, you demand that it be done. But it turned out to be demand as in supply and demand.
Right.
Market. So once I got market, I took it out. I took everything out. Well, I kept in New York Stock Exchange because I knew that was right. And Let's Go Fly a Kite. But took everything else out, and it's like, well, maybe it's market. And then everything fell into place. Because 37 down was convenience stores, right?
Yes.
Yeah, convenience stores. And I thought, well, it seems like it's got to be Marts. But then it started with an H because I had Harkin in there. But I should have gone for something more simple. And it turned out to be Marts. So.
We also had 46 across tops, and the answer was best.
Right.
Another one of those verb disguised as a noun tricks. So,
Yep.
yes. 38 across, Mediterranean plant name for its brightly colored flowers. I thought, oh, there's no way. But I think I got the first letter was S, so somehow I got to sun, and it was sunrose.
Right. I got the rose first, and then the sun came after. So, yeah.
I just like that as a name, sunrose.
Sunrose.
Wonder if there's another flower called, or maybe it's a weed called the sunset.
Maybe.
Who knows? Only the author of this crossword, Sean Phillips. Well, actually, that's not true, but it was a good crossword, though.
I enjoyed it for
Yes.
Saturday, because Saturdays are always kind of tense for me, kind of a stressful solve. But this one wasn't too bad, except for I just was so stuck in those corners. But take everything out, put it back, and it worked. So
Well, I got this done, like I said, fairly expeditiously, and then went to wordplay, and people there were complaining that it was too easy.
oh no.
And I thought, on Thursday, people were complaining that it was too hard. Now they're complaining that it's too easy. But I realize it's probably not the same people.
Probably not.
And I shouldn't look like right after the crosswords come out, because of course those people are going to be the people who tore through it, and they're going to be like, too easy.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get to like tonight, people will just be, this was way too hard. So you got to get those people at about 8 hours after the crossword's been released.
Right.
Those people will be more or less content. I bet Will Shorts has in his office some sort of graph that shows user happiness as a plot of time since the crossword was released. I guarantee it's bell-shaped.
Perhaps, yes.
All right. Well, that is it for the crossword,
Okay.
but it is Saturday,
Yes, it is.
which means it's time for the JAMCOTWA, the Gene and Mike Crossword of the Week Award.
That is right.
This is where we go back through the crosswords of the previous week and look at each and every one of them in great painstaking detail and pick out what we deem to be the very best.
Yes.
And this week we picked...
This week was so tough because there were so many good puzzles.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
So, but we decided on Wednesday.
Wednesday, woohoo!
The one about Pittsburgh without the H, and
Yes.
then with the H. And we just thought that was such a clever theme. And the clues were so fun because it was a clue, and then it was another clue, and then both of those clues were crossed out, and the original clue was put back in, just like with the theme or the revealer, Pittsburgh, the city that had an H, then had it taken away at the end, and then put back. So anyway, just a really clever theme.
Yes, it was by Tom McCoy. This was his 36th New York Times crossword.
Wow.
Definitely a veteran.
Yep.
He's been doing this since 2013.
Wow.
And clearly he has absolutely mastered his craft.
Yes. Yes.
So well done, Tom. If you feel so inclined, drop us a line, crosswordpodcast@icloud.com.
Right.
Include your shirt size.
Yep.
And an address. And
Yep.
we will be sending your JAMCOTWA certificate signed and framed, possibly framed, certainly signed,
Definitely signed.
as well as some magnificent Northeast Wisconsin swag,
Yep.
which you can't find anywhere else unless you go to Amazon. But it's from Northeast Wisconsin.
Yes,
That's the
it is.
important point.
That is right.
And just send all that info to crosswordpodcast@icloud.com.
Yep.
Anyone else listening to this who wants to do the same? Well, okay, you can't ask for the swag, but you can send us feedback. crosswordpodcast@icloud.com.
Yep.
And that is it for today. Sunday's crosswords out.
Yep.
We're going to tackle it. We hope you will too, and come back to hear us talk about that crossword tomorrow.
Bye-bye.